What up, bros?
Oh, totally tubular, bros.
Radical. Are you guys ready to shred into some podcasting?
Let's kick it old school, brah.
So today we're covering the 1998 Disney Channel original movie Brink.
What a fantastic movie.
Yeah, brah. It's all about shredding some gnar.
Bro, what's your name?
I don't think I can keep this up the whole podcast.
I can't either.
I'm Ivan.
I'm Stephanie.
So, if you haven't seen this movie, it is a totally gnarly rollerblading movie. Like we said, it's a Disney Channel original. It came out in 1998.
This was the third Disney Channel original movie that came out.
You got the first two?
I don't, actually. I don't know.
Nice research, bro.
Bro, you know I'm not good at this kind of shit.
Okay, so the first two are Under Wraps and You Lucky Dog, two movies I've never heard of.
Oh, you
seen those?
You did. I did see Under Wraps. Never saw You Lucky Dog.
Are you peeking at my notes?
No.
Can you name the next few movies?
I have no idea.
So, do you want to guess what came after Brink?
Was it Halloween Town?
It was.
Oh, shit.
Were you looking?
I wasn't. I swear. I swear.
And then there was Punks, which I've never seen. I don't know what that is.
Never seen that either.
Punks.
Nope.
And then Xenon, Girl of the 21st Century.
Yes.
Yeah, that movie was amazing.
I love that movie.
We should cover that.
We should. That's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
So, Ivan, what did you think about this movie? This was your first time watching this.
It's obviously totally stupid, but it was fun to watch.
It wasn't the worst movie you've ever seen.
No, it's definitely not the worst movie I've ever seen, but, well, before we get into the movie itself, our drink today is the Soul Punch, which is white rum, lychee liqueur, blue curacao, pineapple juice, lemon juice, lime juice, and a spoonful of that red... I don't know what it's called. Like, I didn't even write it down, but the red, like, punch powder that we got from H-Mart, you know what?
I mean, I know what it is.
Listeners don't know what that is.
It's just a red punch powder.
And a Luxardo cherry. How do you like the punch?
Oh, it's delicious. It's like a greenish color.
Yeah. Just like the Soul Skaters, we don't drink to get paid. We drink because we love it. Now,
Ivan, are you going to drink or are you going to skate?
Yeah, when I woke up this morning, that's the first thing I asked myself. So, did you look into any of the kind of background? I know we've kind of been skipping out on that on Xena, but everybody knows who's in Xena.
Yeah.
It's like the same writing and production crew every episode.
No, I just know that the main character, the guy who plays Brink, is Eric Von Detten, who...
Yes.
That's all I know.
Sid from Toy Story.
He
was in 30 episodes of So Weird.
Which I completely forgot about that show until you mentioned it. I was freaking out.
And 158 episodes of Days of Our Lives.
Mm-hmm.
Which
I've never seen.
Never been a soap opera guy.
No, I haven't either.
Do people still watch those?
I think so.
I guess somebody does.
Yeah.
And he was also in The Princess Diaries.
Oh, yeah. Shit, he was.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the director of this movie, Greg Beeman, was an executive producer on Smallville and also a producer on Heroes. I was surprised. I thought it would be like one of those cases of like Xena and Hercules where it's a director and you look at them, they've done basically nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
But these are some sizable things that he did.
And then the writer is Jeff Schechter, who he wrote some movie called Overruled, also with an exclamation point in the title, just like Brink.
He's just really excited.
Strange Days at Blake Bolsey High.
With no exclamation point.
No exclamation point there. And then a couple just like random one-off episodes of different like 90s and mid-2000 TV shows. So nothing notable.
Yeah,
no.
He hasn't really done anything.
But yeah, as you said, Eric Von Detten. So Val was played by some guy named Sam Horrigan, who was Xander in Escape from Witch Mountain. You heard of that?
Is that the one with The Rock?
I don't think so. I think that's like, I don't know what maybe. I don't remember it.
I'll look it up later.
He was in Grace Under Fire. He was in Little Giants.
Do you know what Little Giants is?
Yes, that movie's terrible. Christina Vidal is Gabriella. She has like a ton of credits. She played Christine in some horror movie called See No Evil. It's like her biggest credit, at least on IMDb. And then Cynthia in Welcome to the Dollhouse. Those are like her top-rated movies, so it doesn't get any better from there. But and then Robin Riker as Maddie Brinker, the mom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's got like over 100 acting credits. I wanted to note that she was Sexy Nurse in one episode of Welcome Back, Kotter.
Oh, is that what she was called in the credits?
Yeah, Sexy Nurse, that's what it said. And then she was in 80 episodes of Brothers as Kelly Hall, which I've never heard of.
I've never heard of any of these things.
You never heard of Welcome Back, Kotter?
Nope.
It's a classic sitcom. Okay, do you have any fun facts about this movie before we dive into it?
Well, I just did some quick Googling before we started the podcast. I did find a video, an interview from 2020, which all the main cast members did a Zoom call. So that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, what kind of stuff do they talk about on the Zoom call?
They just talked about, if Brink ever comes up in their lives, which apparently for the woman who played Gabriella, it comes up more than any of her other acting credits, which is pretty funny.
Not surprising when I went back and looked at her acting credits.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. But,
that's okay.
Yeah, I guess I was just surprised that everybody was still alive.
Still alive? It came out in 1998, and they're like teenagers.
I don't know, but you alluded to like Eric Von Detten like not having any kind of acting credits since 2010.
It's because he works in finance now.
Yeah, good for him. That's a good area to go into.
Okay. So as we mentioned on our other podcast, the last podcast episode we covered of Xena, we kind of talked about what we were going to cover next. This movie definitely came up as a strong contender. We actually got an email this time. So coffeeandcornpodcast@gmail.com, and that's just coffee, A-N-D, corn. So you spell the word and. So coffeeandcornpodcast@gmail.com. Kind of long. We need like a shorter email for sure. But anyway, we got some feedback. I guess, who wrote this? JT is a fan of Brink.
Okay.
So he says, "Hey guys, I just wanted to express my excitement for the upcoming coverage of Brink. As a dedicated listener, I appreciate your insightful discussions on various TV shows and movies. Thank you. However, I urge you to take the subject matter of Brink seriously.
What?
While it may appear lighthearted, the film touches on important themes deserving of deeper analysis. Please delve beyond the surface level nostalgia and explore the film's character, story arcs, and cultural significance. Your thoughtful examination could provide valuable insights for your audience. Thank you for considering my request. I look forward to your take on Brink and trust that you'll deliver a compelling episode. JT." What do you think?
So, I guess we could expand. First of all, thank you for the feedback. We greatly do appreciate it. I guess we could expand mostly on the darker themes of this film.
Yeah, I guess there's some pathos to be explored here. There's
especially with the father character.
Yeah, the father has a compelling arc. I think we could give that the serious attention that it deserves.
The deeper analyses that you so request and would like to see.
All right, JT. Well, like we said, thanks for writing in. We hope that we don't disappoint you with our coverage of this.
We would hate to do that.
But let's shred right into this, brah.
All right, let's get it, fam.
So normally with movies we just kind of like jump all over the place. I actually did do like a little breakdown in my notes. Just I felt like this movie deserved it. I don't know why.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Usually I don't even take hardly any notes during movies because I'm just like, well, we'll just freestyle a discussion afterwards. Right. But I don't know. I think for this one, we just wanted to absorb all the details.
So immediately when this movie starts out, we establish that Andy Brinker is totally rad, brah.
Bro, we see him run out of his bedroom into the kitchen, have one of those typical late 90s, early 2000s quick breakfasts.
And the soundtrack is shredding. It's totally like rocking out. You got some electric guitar, some rock and roll.
And we see Andy with the finest medium length early 2000s hairstyle ever.
And so he comes downstairs. He checks out the fridge. Got to get a quick snack before school. What do you go for in the morning, Stephanie?
For me, I like maybe some cottage cheese.
Yeah, if you're trying to get a quick snack and you get a banana,
piece of fruit, a couple of spoonfuls of cottage cheese, bite of a banana. I'm out the door.
Yeah, I might heat up an oatmeal if I have a minute or two.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm really trying to settle in, I'll get some bacon and eggs going.
Now, what if you were a complete sick shredder on the blades?
Then I'm grabbing the Hershey syrup, baby. Chocolate syrup for breakfast, bruh.
Straight from the bottle?
I need that sugar straight from the bottle. So that's what he grabs out of the fridge and just drinks it straight out. What the fuck is this?
He must be sick to his stomach afterwards. Like, he couldn't even, chug some milk at the same time.
That's so disgusting. And they're just like, oh, Andy. It's incorrigible.
Yeah, and we see he's got, all of his gear on his backpack and stuff, so he's, too busy for this. He's gotta go blade somewhere.
Yeah, and we realize right away as an audience that he is really hip and cool, because he says, what up? And his dad's like, English, bruh. His dad doesn't understand what up, because his dad's a total square.
Yeah. And also a square on disability, when we later find out.
Yeah, he's a total loser. No, if you're on disability,
I feel for you.
Yeah, that
sucks.
I don't want to get into that. But so Brink meets his crew at the bus stop, and he explains why he's late. Did you get his explanation in your notes?
I just got the word chornage.
Yeah, total chornage.
What is that? Did you look that up?
I think it's like chores, a combination of chores and carnage, I guess, that's what I assumed it was.
Because
total chornage.
I have no idea what that word meant. I didn't have any kind of context clue to go off of.
I think his mom hinted after he chugged a bunch of chocolate syrup that he needed to complete some chores. So then we get a totally gnarly skate scene, and I know, listener, there's no video feed. But if there were, you would see me...
pinky and thumb out.
Yeah, wiggling my hand.
Wiggling your wrist.
What is that? What do they call that? Hang loose, bruh.
Yes, we're hanging
loose on the pod, bruh. Chillax. So we get a totally gnarly skate scene. Lots of rollerblading. Lots of inline skating, bruh.
Lots of low camera work to the ground as you're zooming down the street and destroying people's properties.
And what could be cooler than wearing knee pads, elbow pads, wrist guards, and a helmet, bruh? That's not cool when you're a kid, right?
And the helmet is buckled up tight.
Except for Brink's. He lets his straps hang loose.
Well, that's because he's a professional.
He's hanging loose. We're doing the symbol again.
Hanging loose.
We're doing the hand signal again. So it's not cool when you're a kid to wear safety equipment, right?
No, my mom would always make me wear it out of the house, but once I'm out, I'm taking it off.
But as an adult, I'm like, you should be wearing this because you don't want to fuck your body up when you're a teenager. But as a kid, that's not cool.
No, that's lame. And they're completely unsupervised. There's hardly any adult in this film. Did you notice that?
Except for the dad and a couple shots of the mom. Yeah, we don't see really...
And then the manager.
And the teacher who calls Val a pussy later in the movie. Which is kind of funny. But
tells him to get over it.
Yeah, get over it. When he eats some worms. But we're
skipping ahead.
But did you notice during this scene, this kind of intro scene of his crew, they're skating, they're shredding it up. And one of the guys goes, high five, and claps his hands. And they're skating. They're in motion. They're rollerblading down the street. Nobody is even remotely close enough for a high five.
I did not notice that. I did not pick up on that.
He just yells high five and then he claps his hands.
That's
amazing.
This
guy just give himself a high five.
The note that I have on the opening scene is that Gabriella's stunt double is very obviously a much taller man.
I did not notice that. Oh my god, how did I miss that?
I could not skip over that. The muscles are bulging. The guy is at least 6 inches taller than her.
It's just this tall, ripped guy that's playing this teenage girl as a stunt double.
And then when we switch back to the actress that played Gabriella, she's half his size. It is such a contrast.
So, pretty early into the movie, after this gnarly shredding scene, when they're all kind of hanging out, we get our first microaggression of the movie.
Oh, yeah, at the skate park on Venice Beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they show up at the skate park, they're doing their thing, they're like ripping some mad shreds on the rails and the ramps. And then, from like a quarter of a mile away, they spot this guy's baseball hat that says Inline Rollerblading Magazine or something like that.
Oh, I'm talking about before that, even when they're like, hey, when one of Brink's crew is like, come on, guys. And Gabrielle was like, we're not all guys. I'm triggered.
Triggered!
She's triggered. She's triggered by their microaggression. How about we say folks or people so that we're all inclusive?
But also, how about you get over it?
I mean, clearly they're a friends group, and he was just using a colloquialism. But yeah, she gives him no slack.
No, it's kind of ridiculous how behind the times she is.
So I actually noted in my notes, and this comes before the scene that we see in a few minutes. I put, there are no skateboarders at this skate park trying to kick their asses for like their inline skating at the skate park.
No, everybody's getting along.
But then it's kind of explained in a few minutes. So yeah, as you mentioned, there's a rep from Inline Magazine. You think that's still in print?
I didn't look. It might be. It might be. Apparently skating is huge.
Inline skating.
Inline skating is huge if you watch this movie and pretend it's real life. But yeah, it's a big deal for Brink and his team of Soul Skaters. Did you say their name before yet? Yeah,
the Soul Skaters. Yeah. I think I mentioned it when I introduced the drink that we're drinking tonight.
Oh, that's right.
So Brink gets knocked down. I just noticed this because I tried to keep up with all the cool lingo.
Yeah.
In the movie, he gets knocked down at one point and he says, "No problemo." He's hanging loose, bruh.
Did he do the hand? He never did
I don't think anyone does it.
No.
We did it enough.
They just do the peace sign and then the rock and roll sign.
Yeah, they do both of those at a couple points in the movie. The nonstop like ska soundtrack in the background is just like torturing me at this point in the movie.
I did notice the ska.
I was afraid. I'm like, it will never end.
I was afraid you would have had enough of by that point. But
it's like 10 solid minutes of ska music. It's horrible.
Which I've told Ivan before, ska music is the equivalent of like what goes through a teenage boy's head when he gets a bowl of mac and cheese. That's like
it's the auditory equivalent of a visit to the dentist's office when you have a bunch of cavities. It's just like painful and you can't escape it. I hate it.
Yeah, so they spot this photographer in the bushes. They're like, "Oh, recruiter, bro. Let's do our best to do some gnarly tricks for him so he'll photograph us, bro." Yeah,
but then Team X-Blades shows up.
Yeah, and you could obviously tell that they're better because they're all wearing matching gear.
Yeah, they got these cool, like, yellow and black uniforms, and they're, like, totally extreme.
Yeah.
So they basically just kind of trick the guys into getting off the court by, like, striking them up into conversation and distracting them, and then they start rollerblading, and they're like, "You know the rules, bruh. You're not skating anymore, so we're here now." Like it.
Well,
I don't really understand the rules of the like honor code of the skate park, where if you stop skating, you have to leave.
But I mean, Val does have a point. Like none of them were skating, so they just took
true.
the ramp.
But like, can't you just resume skate? Like. You know,
it's
a big
also
skate
like
park.
Skate all at once. Like, why does one team have to have the skate park?
Yeah, it's not really. It's not like it's. There's enough room.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make a lot of sense, but okay. So Brink comes home and seems to invent the phrase or the word "fam," the shortening of family. He comes in and it's 1998, and he says, "What up, fam?"
Dude, I think Ivan and I were both very surprised by this because obviously I didn't notice it when I was younger watching this movie, but this is like current lingo.
It might not be, but you know, it probably was like 5 years ago or.
Oh yeah, fam.
I guess people still say fam.
I guess.
I don't know. Email us.
But before that, back at the skate park, so Brink takes the X-Blades, taking the skate park back as like a super microaggression, I guess. And so he goes up to a bunch of skateboarders and is like, hey, those guys over there called you wusses. And so the skateboarders go over there and start like pushing Val and his team around. Like, that is such an extreme reaction to them just like taking the skate park. You could just like come back later.
The skateboarders are so gullible and like buffoons because Brink comes up and he's like, hey, is it true that all skateboarders are total pussies? And, like, you guys just have big, wet vaginas? And, like, you guys are all just wish you were rollerbladers, but you can't because you suck? And the guys are like, what? Like, they get all mad, and he's like, I don't think so, but those guys totally do. And he's like, those guys said that? Like, it's so unbelievable. Like, you think they'd just be like, get out of here.
And also, was there ever such a huge rivalry between skateboarders and rollerbladers? Inline skaters, I mean.
No, in my mind, it's like the skateboarders are like, these guys are total nerds and they just don't care.
Yeah, and the yeah, I don't know. But it's just like, you're potentially causing this huge fight to happen just because the guys took your park. Come on, man.
So when we get introduced to Brink's dad, he reminds me of like the dad in the AOL commercials in the 90s who's like, it's so easy to use AOL, even your dad can do it, and he's a fucking idiot. And like it shows the dad and he's like looks really confused. He's trying to smash his meaty fingers on a keyboard and he doesn't understand the internet.
The dad is so negative in this movie.
This dad is a terrible father.
He is.
He's so discouraging, and he, like, seemingly hates his kids.
Because Brink is like, what did you pack me for school lunch today? It's the first day of school. And the dad's like, what do you like the least? And he's like, a bologna sandwich with extra mayo. And dad's like, well, that's exactly what I made.
Yeah.
He's
like, and he's always talking crap about his kids, like, the whole movie. Like, when Brink's not around, he's talking crap to Katie about Brink. Katie's the younger sister. When Katie's not around, he's talking crap about her to Brink, like saying what, she's a monkey. He calls her an animal at some point and says, like, she's a dog or she's filthy. And then, like, he always says, like, Brink's an idiot. And, like, then when it's just him and his wife, he's like, these kids suck. Like, this guy's terrible.
He's like, your son sucked. Like, he's
your
awful.
Son too. He's awful.
God.
And he's so negative, like, he just complains about everything and his life and money, and he's terrible.
I legitimately thought that this guy would commit suicide if he didn't get his hopes back up. My God, he's just unbearable, honestly.
So the next morning at school, Gabriella arrives in a dress, and the guys, what?
The guy, one of the guys is like, is that what I think it is?
All their jaws are like hanging slack.
She's just wearing just like a dress and flats.
All right.
That's it.
It's not like a gown or like this overly elaborate dress, you know?
Yeah, the guys are ragging on her and Brink says, well, I thought it was fat.
Yeah.
With a PH.
So then Val and his crew, the X-Blades, which is spelled X-Bladz, so the X-Blads. Why is there no E? I don't know. But they say X-Blades, but it's like, every time I see it written, it looks like X-Blads. They show up, and they're like, hey, why'd you do that with the skateboarders? That was mean, and they're mad, and they, like, take their shoes. Because the guys have, one of the guys, which one? The lame one? The lamest one out of the group, who's not Boomer. No, Boomer's in the other group.
Oh.
I'm talking about the Soul Skaters.
Oh.
The little, like, I can't remember their names because they suck. But, like, anyway, they have all skated to school, so they haven't put their shoes on yet. He grabs one of their shoes and throws it up, like, on a power line. So Gabriella's like, here, take my shoes. Which is, like, they have the same size shoes. Two of us have tiny feet. She was like, I was going to wear normal clothes, but you could just have my shoes since you don't have any shoes. And I'm like, you can still change out of the dress. You're wearing flats.
Yeah, flats go with basically everything. It's not a big deal.
But they act like it's this huge sacrifice. Like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. I'm like, it's one day, dude. You can just wear the dress even. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, so later on that day during lunch, well, first of all, before lunch, Brink and his friends are in the classroom. They're in science class, and the teacher is talking about worms and stuff, and Brink gets the idea to put worms in Val's lunch later on. So Gabriella takes Val's sandwich, like that was right beside of him. They stuff worms inside of it and give it back to him. He takes a bite out of it and is like freaking out.
The scene's actually pretty funny.
Yeah, he's like spitting it out in the trash, and the teacher comes by and she's like, "What is going on, Val?"
Yeah, and previously Val had been like, if you tell the teacher that I took your shoes, I'll know you guys are wimps, because only, wimps tell the teacher. So then he sees them and they hold up a sign that says like, don't be a wimp or whatever, right?
Don't be a wuss.
Don't be a wuss, yeah, because wusses tell the teacher. And then he's like, oh, I thought I saw a bug, because he doesn't want to tell on them.
Yeah, and she's like, get over it.
Yeah, it's funny. And I'm like, this dude just takes this huge bite of the sandwich without how do you not see all these? He stuffed like a fistful of worms in it, not like one worm.
It was a thick fistful of worms, and the guy didn't even notice at all, or like notice that his sandwich was gone.
Yeah, or that it had been disturbed. Nothing. Yeah. So at this point in the movie, I'm like, is this movie just a prank war? And these pranks are not even that good. It's just lame. But no. Val challenges them to a relay race, because that's how teenagers solve conflicts.
Yes, on school grounds.
With a relay race.
And somehow these teenagers are able to reposition all of the school lunch tables and trash cans and are able to put all their gear on.
Yeah, we both were like, how did they have time to set this up? They set up this long relay race with obstacles, upside down trash cans. They've like arranged tables in a certain way so you can grind on them and shred, and
like their classmates are loving it.
There's a whole crowd.
They've got so many spectators. This is like the school football team.
Where is the teacher?
No idea. She just like get over it and walked away.
So they have a race. It's neck and neck. Boomer wipes out. Boomer is he's played by the Black Ranger on the Power Ranger from the 90s. I can't remember the character's name. It's been a long time since I watched Power Rangers.
Morphin.
Yeah, the Mighty Morphin, the original like 90s Power Rangers. Yeah. So Boomer falls down. He's hurt. It doesn't like he just kind of falls, which is like, it's going to sting, but he'd be fine. He's like moaning and crying.
He's got like elbow pads and a helmet on. Can't be that hurt.
I don't get it.
But Brink stops his portion of the race to see if Boomer is okay and help him out. And in between his cries, Boomer's like, you stopped the race to help me.
He can't believe it.
No.
He can't believe the generosity of and kindness of Brink, and
that Brink would stop this relay race, this illegal relay race at school to help him. It's amazing, really.
So, again, I have some notes about the dad just being like so negative and corny and not supportive, and he's like, no skating, I hate skating, like every chance he gets.
Yeah, this is the part where I wrote in my notes that the dad needs to be on suicide watch. He's just like, because this was after Brink gets suspended for the relay race, and all of them get suspended on the first day of school. So the dad is like combing through the finances back at the house, saying that his car broke down, Brink is suspended, mortgage is due, he's
so many problems,
on disability. His boss says that he's not guaranteed his job back.
He's got to buy braces.
Yeah.
For his daughter or something. And also, it's not like in some movies where they're like, the bank's gonna take the house, blah, blah, blah. Like, his wife is just like, well, the mortgage isn't due till the 1st. Like, they haven't even missed a payment yet.
I know.
Like, I don't know. It just seems like the stakes aren't that big. He's like a foreman. So, like, he acts like he couldn't. I'm like, just get a job at a different site. It seems like he probably could. He seems like he's like experienced and knowledgeable at his job, at least.
Yeah, well, other than the disability.
Well, yeah.
Other than the broken back.
But he's fine now.
Yeah, he's fine now.
Jerkweeds at 2:00. I put another like cool slang down. Remember when they're like, so we cut to the kids, they're at school, they're hanging out in the bleachers or something, and the bad guys, Val and the X-Blades, show up, and they're like, jerkweeds at 2:00.
Yeah, and then the X-Blades tell Gabrielle to go back to Mexico when she's Peruvian.
Yeah, and I'm like, what the hell? Triggered! So I had in my notes that Val, the villain of the movie, which, by the way, what is that? What kind of name is Val for? It's a guy, by the way.
Yeah, what is it short for? Valerie.
I can't even think of... Is it just Val, you think? Like Val Kilmer?
That's what I was thinking about, yeah. It might be Val. Just Val.
So the villain of this movie, Val, has the same teeth as Stephanie.
That squeaking is the air going between my two front teeth.
So Val comes by to be like, yeah, Boomer got hurt, and we have an open spot on our team, but you're not invited. Like, why did he even come over to say that? Yeah,
and then Gabriella's like, get lost, beat it, bucko.
Yeah, and he's like, it pays good money, but you're not going to make any because you're not invited. Nah. And then they walk away, and one of the goons with Val is like, do you think he'll show? And he's like, you know it. I'm like, why? If you want this guy to skate for your team, just ask him.
Yeah, seriously. So, Brink is at a nice practice session with the Soul Skaters, but he still has got this on his mind that the X-Blades have an opening.
The mortgage is due, man.
The mortgage is due, the bills are due, and maybe my skating can help my fam out, bruh. So he leaves the session early, just like 1 hour early. I have to put that in.
Oh my God, his friends have so much separation anxiety.
Dude, they do. They've got some issues.
Like, what are we gonna do?
They're like, you can't skip out on a session like that again, man. You're like our leader.
Yeah, they're really upset about it.
We can't do anything without you. And he's like, I got a family thing,
And
guys.
he says he has a family function, which if it's true, it's like, they're not being very cool.
No.
I mean, I guess he should have mentioned it up front, maybe, but I don't know. Maybe he forgot.
Yeah.
So he shows up at the X-Blades, and they're like, we'll give you 30 seconds, you idiot. Like, it's like, dude, just admit that you want this guy on your team because you think he's a good skater.
Yeah.
And like, they're doing all this crazy stuff. So he does some radical shredding. It's totally tubular, bro. Like, cowabunga, dude.
And the song is sick.
Yeah, it's badass. So he's hanging loose. He's shredding. It's pretty righteous. So then he meets the boss, the manager of the X-Blades, I guess, who is funding all this. This guy is like so coked up.
Yeah, he is. You could just
like
tell.
This sweaty agent type character.
Yeah, and he's telling Brink, like, I moved $10 million worth of merch last year for the X-Blades. Like, it's the big deal around here. And I'm like, for inline skating? Yeah.
And this guy's moving $10 million worth of product and paying them $200 a week.
That's fishy. So there's no contract or anything. There's no,
it's a gentleman's agreement. Seems nothing shady at all.
Nope, not at all. He's just like, hey, you know the money situation you want on this team? And Brink's like, oh yeah, sure, man.
Your parents know about this?
Are your parents cool with it and everything? Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's just like, oh yeah. And they're like, all right. So then, like we said, Brink's friends are distraught. He shows up at home ec class, right? Mm-hmm. And they're making cakes, and he's like, baking a cake is a lot like friendship.
It doesn't always turn out like you expect it to, you know?
But it still tastes good. And rightfully so, his friends are like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude?
I think Gabrielle says, like, stop being weird.
So Val just walks into the home ec class, and at this point it's like, can you leave us alone, man? Val, it's not even his class. It's like, what's the rules at this school?
Val's like, nice prawns, dudes. Like aprons.
Oh, yeah. It's
just like verbiage like that and throughout the movie, but like, it's home ec class.
Yeah, and what's he doing there?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Where are the grown-ups? I mentioned this when we were watching the movie. There's hardly any grown-ups. There's only the mom and the dad.
Yeah, we don't see the home ec teacher either.
Then the
They're
manager.
Just there.
Yeah.
They can't afford to pay all these adults.
No.
So then, like, later, so Brink makes the team, and he's skating with the the X-Blades, and then he like heads to the park afterwards to meet up with his friends. And they're like, "Where have you been? We waited for you for 2 hours."
You did nothing but wait for 2 hours. You guys can't do
what
anything
the hell?
without him.
It's weird.
It is a bit bizarre.
His friends have a problem.
Yeah, they need their own identities, which I guess this movie is all about identity. So
Is it? Yeah, we're supposed to explore the deep themes of this movie for our listener.
So, what do you think of the dad projecting his hardships onto his kids?
I think we should save that, get into that in depth when we get to the heartfelt conversation scene later, because they kind of dive into this weird pathos with the father. And
yes.
So Brink's dad says he's got him a job.
They had a conversation about him during the X-Blades earlier at the dinner table where Brink is like, "Hey, man.
I'm passionate about skating, bro.
Like, I know you've been hard up for money, bro. And I'm like, I just like want to help you out, bro."
Yeah.
And his dad's like, "Oh, a job?"
Yeah, his dad is a total dick. Instead of being like, you know, like his mom has the right idea. She's like, You don't have to worry about that, honey. Like, he's a teenager. She wants him to enjoy his childhood. And his dad is like, "No, shut up, wife. Listen, what were you saying about giving me money?" Like, you know, he's like, "All right, get a job." Like, but not what you want to do. Like, not skating. And it's like, it pays a few $100s a week. And he's like, "That's pretty good money." But no.
What is up with this guy? What does he have against skating?
I don't know. You could tell that his son is really passionate about it, and he's just like, "Skating sucks. Groom dogs."
Man, it's not like his son's doing heroin or anything. He's just skating.
And I don't think the grooming dogs is going to pay as well as the X-Blades, honestly.
Absolutely not.
The show shows him working or the movie shows him working at the dog place like an hour or two a day at the most.
That's even Brink says he has no experience around animals. They don't have a family dog. He's never been around dogs before. It's like having me do underwater oil well rigging.
It's exactly like
Welding.
that. It's exactly like that.
Yeah.
So we get like this montage of Brink, and he's so exhausted. Guys, he's so tired. He wakes up at 7 a.m. and he goes to school. And then he gets off and he works at the dog grooming place until like 4:30 p.m. And then he has to skate for like 3 hours. So then he comes home at like 7:30 or 8, and he
does like a couple hours worth of homework. No,
not even, because it shows him going to bed at 9:19 p.m. I remember it. So I know, and then like it shows him go to bed at 9:19 p.m. and then wake up the next day. And he's like wiped out after a full night. I'm like, bro, you're like 16. What the fuck?
It's only been one day, too.
Yeah, it's one day. And I'm like, it's not that much activity,
you know,
man.
For someone who eats chocolate syrup for breakfast,
that's his problem. That's why you're right. I shouldn't be surprised. That's why he's like...
He's just running on sugar at all times. Oh. Other than that, he like eats a slice of pizza, I think, throughout the movie, but not much else.
So then it's like the night of the invitational, or the day of the invitational, and Brink's friend comes over to be like, "We gotta go, man. We gotta go skate." And he's like faking sick. He's like sprayed himself with water so he looks sweaty, and he's coughing. He's like, "Tell the other guys, I'm sick."
And the dude's like, "Oh, yeah, not a problem, man. Like, we're gonna go and watch an invitational." And Brink's like, "No! You guys should do a session of skating instead."
Yeah, you gotta practice. Don't miss out on practice.
So we get to the invitational. Brink comes in wearing sunglasses as his disguise.
It's so stupid.
It's just
don't bother with the disguise, man.
And also, when they announce him to go up on the vertical, they announce his name. Andy Brinker.
Yeah. So it's pointless, but
it's such a small crowd at the invitational.
Yeah, there's like 15 people there. It's like, where's all this money coming from? With the sponsorships.
I have no idea. ESPN is there?
Oh, yeah. ESPN is there, but like nobody's there to watch it. But this is just the invitational. It's not the big championship, which also nobody attends. It's like when we get to it, but Brink's friends show up. They decide to go watch it after all, just to at least see what their competition is. His disguise doesn't fool them. Big shocker.
Yeah, because he was trying to get them off of his trail by saying like, "Oh, the new member of the X-Blades is this big Korean man." Yeah. So when his friends show up to the invitational to see this mystery man, they're like, "Well, he's not Korean."
Yeah, so he gets a great score. He does awesome, and then he's like talking to Val. And Gabrielle shows up and just like sucker punches him and knocks his ass to the ground.
Yeah, like all for just joining a team to make some money for your family. Like this is.
He shouldn't have lied though. He should have just been like, "Look, I'm doing this. And I want you guys to support me or whatever because my family's about to be like homeless."
I think either way, she would have pushed him to the ground.
Yeah, this is where he tells her to go back to Mexico, and we're like. You'd think Brink would be like, "Whoa, man, what the hell? Come on, dog." Like,
was it here?
Yeah, I put it in my notes here.
Yeah, so he gets up and his boss, man, gives him $200 for winning. And that's when he gets pushed down by his friends. And it's like, man, come on. So
then, like, we get a scene of the dad, Brink's dad, and his mom talking. And the dad's like, "Man, he's so depressing to be around. He just complains all the time. He's all negative lately." Because Brink's upset about his friends finding out and being mad at him. And I'm like, look in a fucking mirror, man.
I cannot believe that he said something like this, knowing how he's been throughout the movie so far. It's so obvious.
So not self-aware. So then we get this heart-to-heart. Is this where you want to dig in here to the... What drives this father character?
So let's start out with the father character. So he enjoyed skating in his childhood as well.
Yeah, we learned that he bought the first pair of skates for his son because he used to enjoy skating. What the hell?
And he bought them for Brink when he was like 5 or 6 years old. So he's like the one that nurtured this in him. And he kept buying him skates throughout his entire life. And now you're going to be angry at him for like... having a passion for it. Like, you started this. You should be proud.
And then when he's like, "When I bought these, I didn't think you'd like it I didn't think it would consume your life." And I'm like, you mean you didn't think he'd get a hobby he's passionate about? I mean, he loves it. What the hell kind of father is this?
Do you think
this guy sucks?
Do you think he's projecting onto Brink because maybe he couldn't make it in skating, even though he loved it so much?
Maybe, but we don't get that in the film, but the father does realize that it took him getting on disability to realize that he was not his job, which is like very sad. This guy's like a middle-aged dude, and he's like, "I'm a construction foreman, and I always loved being a construction foreman," which is great. You know, if you love your career and you love what you do, that's great. But then he's like, "But that's not who I am. That's what I do." And I'm like, yeah, no shit, dude. Like, you need to have your own identity. How do you not know this? You're a fucking father of a teenager. You're just realizing it like 6 months ago when you got on disability?
Yeah, like he said that ever since he got on disability, he doesn't know who he is anymore because he's not a foreman anymore. And I'm like, you're not a foreman 24/7. You go home. What do you do at home? Just think about being a construction foreman?
I know, like it's just really weird.
I don't do that. I love my job. I love doing what I do, but like I need to shut that shit off.
And it seems like also that he just realized it in this moment because from here on out, like the father is more supportive of the skating. So it's like it's not even like he realized it when he went on disability. It's like he's just now was like, wait a second. That's not who. It took him 6 months of not doing his job to realize that he's not his job.
It's just ridiculous. The father is just
absurd.
Very immature and does not have a very adult way of thinking about things and is very lost and has really little meaning in his life, I feel.
So we get Val takes Brink to the big hill that there's going to be like the finale of the championship. It's just this big long hill, and for the street skating or whatever they call it, the race.
It's down, yeah. So there's
the downhill.
The championship has 3 parts: street, vert, and downhill.
You got it.
Yeah. And the downhill course is just like street racing downhill, basically. And so they're mapping the route out, and they're like talking about going onto people's roofs.
Yeah, Brink is like, it'd be totally gnar if I jumped on that roof and then like skated all across the house and then jumped back into the street. And I'm like, you're gonna fuck somebody's like roof up, dude.
That's fucking expensive property damage.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be happy if some dude skateboards his ass right into my living room because he jumped on my roof.
Also, this is where I have it in my notes that Val tells Gabby to go back to Mexico.
Either way, it happened somewhere in the movie. And it was pretty messed. It was pretty like, oh god, man, it's awful.
Poor taste.
So they, Val and Brink are checking out the hill, and Gabriella and his other, like, his old friends' crew, the Soul Skaters, show up. And they're like, get out of here. And like, you get out of here. It's a free country. I'm going to skate. And then, so anyway, they agree to race.
And Val whispers into Brink's ear on the
last curve.
The last curve, stay on the outside. And Brink was like, bruh, you don't stay on the outside during a curve.
He's like, just do it.
He dies.
So Val sabotages the race by putting all these like pebbles and stones on the inside of the last curve.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
And he puts them in a space that is clearly visible.
It is. Yeah.
I mean, it out there.
Brink sees him from a mile away.
Yeah.
So Brink's already skating on the outside. It's neck and neck. They're both racing. It's getting close, and I think Gabriella's actually ahead when they get to the last curve, but Brink's on the outside. He's like, go to the outside, and she's like, no way. But she doesn't even, like you said, it's very obvious. She doesn't see the rocks and stuff, so she crashes into them and rolls, I don't know, 50 times through the street.
Yeah, when it's all said
so ridiculous.
And when it's all said and done, and they pan away from the shot, she's only rolled maybe like 10 feet tops.
Yeah. But they keep showing it from different angles, her like rolling and
in slow-mo and everything.
Yeah. It's so stupid.
It's very dramatic.
So then like later all the friends Brink goes to visit her, and her other the other Soul Skaters are walking out of the house, and they like mean mug him a little bit, and he's like, what, bruh? Not chill. And he goes into the house to see Gabriella, and she's got like her arm in a sling, and she's covered in bandages, and I'm like, oh my god, dude.
She's like on her deathbed.
It's so stupid.
And also, I said this during the movie, but if I was all bandaged up in a cast, like fresh from an accident, I would hate it for all these people to visit me constantly. I'd be like, Mom, can you like let me rest, please? It doesn't make... Yeah, it's just...
yeah, I know.
It's tiring. And basically, she just gives him a hard time for telling them to skate from the heart at the very beginning, as part of the Soul Skaters. But now he's doing it for money. And Brink is like, but my family like needs the money. And she's just like, you're a sellout.
Yeah, and I'm like, man, just support your friend because he's good enough to go professional and you're not.
Yeah.
Loser.
She's very full of herself.
I love how we're like siding with the villains. So Brink finds Val, who's like sharing some pizza and milkshake with some ladies. He's a real ladies' man. He's hanging out. He's chilling with the squad, and he throws his skates onto the pizza, which is like, just ruin the. I don't know. Why ruin a good pizza? Grab a slice first. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe
seriously.
not. But yeah, he's like, you could have killed her, man. Which, no, he couldn't.
Yeah, there's no way. She was like so heavily geared up, and she just rolled a bunch of times. She's fine.
They weren't going that fast.
No.
I mean, you're just on rollerblades. Like,
yeah. So that's how Brink quits the X-Blades, and
and he also throws a chocolate milkshake in Val's face.
Yes.
And like, Val is like, let's go. Like, he's ready to fight and kick his ass. And Boomer defends him. He's like, not now, man. Not here. Like, he's like, you're defending this guy? So, like, I wrote, like, Brink is, like, a perfect Machiavellian here, because he's, like, splintered Val's group from the inside. Like, he got the spiky hair guy. There's this spiky hair guy who's kind of, like, been enamored with Brink since he joined their team, since he joined Val's team. And now Boomer is, like, kind of, you know, ever since that race where he helped Boomer after he fell, kind of Boomer's more, his loyalties have shifted. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, did he do this on purpose?
If he didn't, he's a genius.
Yeah.
Do you want to mention Boomer's haircut?
I don't know how to describe it. Just like somebody really did this guy wrong. Somebody really, like, it's like I don't know what is going on there.
His hairline's like an oval. There's no straight line to it.
He just needs.
He needs a barber.
It really needs shaped up. It looks really crazy. Just look like you could probably Google like Boomer from Brink and you see the picture of it.
It's just very distracting to me.
Yeah, every time he's on screen, I'm like, what is happening?
Like, what the hell?
So Brink meets up with his friends at the park and reveals that he has committed fraud.
He says that he used his pay advance to buy.
He specifically had to ask for a 4-month advance.
Yeah, to buy them gear. And
he's like, I'm your sponsor now. He gives them all new rollerblades and shirts.
And the shirts have the Puppin Suds on it,
so
which is the company that he works for. And they're like
trademark infringement or copyright infringement and fraud.
Yes.
Because he immediately quit. He asked for a 4-month advance, took their money, quit the team, and bought all new gear for a competing team.
Rock on, bro.
There's no way that's legal, right?
No. But he's a kid. They're not going to persecute him.
I guess. So, Gabriella is suddenly fine, even though she was apparently could have been killed and was on the brink of death. So she's the first up in the competition. Yeah, she's fine. She's just fine now. Like 2 days later.
Yeah, it's like the next day or 2 days later. It's like very fast turnaround for her.
The competition is gruelingly boring.
Oh, and they put on the worst music for this montage.
It's like this weird slow ballad. I don't really understand. Are we supposed to be sad watching this?
Yeah, I have no idea. But right away, Brink takes a tumble. I think this was the street portion of the championship.
So he gets like a lower score than he probably would have. So he's they're not doing so well. But then Brink's dad shows up. And he reveals he's got his job back, and his wife treats it like, dude, this guy could have got another job. I don't, maybe not. Maybe it was really tight being a foreman in California in the 90s. I don't know. It seemed like around this time the economy was booming, so I think he could have really, I think he would have been fine. They're not even behind on mortgage payments. They're literally like, they're just saying it's due soon.
Well, he was on disability too, and like, well, I guess
maybe they had eaten through their savings, I guess, and
maybe
they imply that she's they don't imply, but she's a real estate agent, and they kind of imply that she's not a good one. Don't they? They kind of
they do.
They kind of, yeah.
Like he trashes on her too. He's like, "Oh, you haven't shown a single house. Big surprise."
Yeah, he kind of shits on his wife. This guy sucks. He shits on everybody in this movie. So Brink shreds some sweet vert. He's totally gnarly, bruh.
One of the X-Blades falls down during the vert, so, going into the downhill portion of the championship, they're like neck and neck with each other, as expected.
Oh yeah, it's exciting. So they get ready for the street race. They do this weird thing that I don't think was intentional with the way it's shot, to where I guess it was like overcast that day of shooting and they couldn't like reschedule the shoot.
But also
So it looks like it's really foggy.
I think that was the day they also got the new 360 track in.
Oh my god, man.
Probably they were so excited to use it that they just kept it going for an entire minute.
Yeah, so we see like Val and Brink facing off, and the camera is spinning around them, and it's spinning around them, and it's still spinning, and it's still spinning, and I'm just like, why is it still happening?
Yeah,
like, it spins forever.
And then even after you said that, it's still spinning.
Yeah, it's like dizzying. It's kind of painful to watch. I hated watching it.
But yeah, they start the downhill portion. Pretty gnarly. Brink is ahead.
Yeah, and then Val just like unashamedly, blatantly cheats in front of everybody on camera while being filmed. It's so stupid. Like, what are you doing?
Well, before this, like, there's plenty of cameras everywhere. I mean, ESPN is covering this event.
Yeah, they stressed that multiple times. I guess this movie was like sponsored by ESPN.
But there is a blind turn in the downhill portion where there's like no camera footage. There's no one standing around watching this curve, and Val starts pushing Brink into a bunch of vans on the side of the road. Doesn't stop him or anything, but then right after that, Val just eats shit.
Yeah, he fakes a wipeout. Well, it looks real, and he's like moaning and grabbing his leg like he's in pain. And Brink comes back, and he's like, "Are you okay, bruh?" And then he's like, that's your problem. You always come back or whatever. You can't ever finish a race because you suck." And then he like grabs Brink and throws him to the ground and takes off. And the cameraman is like right there. Like you could see a cameraman filming the race, like pointing, and he's right there. So everyone sees it.
Yeah, and they even say like, "Oh, we got it."
Yeah. So then like Brink takes a shortcut, so he should also be disqualified. They both cheat.
Yeah.
Like he leaves the track, he takes a shortcut through an alley and onto a roof, like you talked about earlier. He's like, just like you said earlier, he jumps on the roof. It's totally gnar. And so like it's neck and neck. They get to the final portion, which is just like a straight out sprint. Brink wins, like it, just by like
a nose.
A nose, yeah. And then we just see Val like kind of dejected and skulking off, and we hear like these people in the background, "You stink, man.
You're a cheater."
Yeah.
Yeah, like the manager of the exploits comes up to Brink and was like, "Man, I saw what he did back there. That guy's a cheater. He's out. You're in. You're going to be the next manager."
Yeah, and he's like, "No thanks, because I was on the exploits and it wasn't any fun." That's his explanation. I kind of expect him to be like, "Yeah, I'll join, but my friends got to be in too." And then they all like get paid.
Then everybody makes money and everybody is happy.
But Brink's kind of a moron. He's not a good businessman.
Clearly not. He committed fraud. He cheated multiple times. He lied.
Yeah. And here's where I was a little let down by the movie. I thought we were going to get a redemption arc from Val where he realizes like he's been kind of a dick and comes in kind of hat in hand and is like, "Hey, I'm sorry." And he joins and they become one big like skating crew and they're all friends. Because Boomer and Buzzcut or spiky hair guy join the crew.
Yeah.
Like, they fully commit at the end. They're like, "Let's be friends," and they all like accept each other.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Val. I guess maybe the director wanted to leave it open-ended to make room for Brink 2.
Is there a Brink 2?
Is there?
Let's look it up for the listeners.
There might be.
But in my mind, if there isn't a Brink 2, in my mind, then Val is Val's Revenge?
Oh, it's a short
unofficial.
It's a short movie from 2011, and it's unofficial.
Oh, never mind.
Oh my god. Years after losing a downhill race, Val decides to kidnap his former rival's sister.
Click it. Is it even any of the same people? Probably not.
No. Nah.
Sounds stupid. Are there any pictures? No. Seems dumb. But,
oh well.
I like to think that, that Val redeemed himself and joined the crew and they became friends. What else is he going to do? He's off the team. He doesn't have any friends left.
Yeah, and also, is this a profession that they want to stay in through their adulthood?
I would think not, because it doesn't... do people even do it anymore except for like a skating rink for fun?
Yeah, there might be some official competition, but definitely not ESPN videoed.
So any closing thoughts on the movie? Did it hold up, do you feel like, for you? Because this was my first viewing of it. I've never seen this.
Yeah, and this is like my maybe 6th or 7th time watching it. But all the rest of the times were in my childhood because I thought that the main character was super hot.
Did it hold up?
It honestly did a little bit. It like we said before, this isn't the worst one we've seen.
It's funny.
It is funny. I mean, I could definitely pick out the ridiculousness of it this time around, but otherwise, I think it wasn't that bad.
Let us know what you think. coffeeandcornpodcast@gmail.com. Love to hear it. So speaking of that, next we'll probably jump back into Xena. But right now we have some feedback I'd like to cover.
Okay.
So if you're not interested in the feedback, then we'll see you on the next episode of Xena. But just got a couple emails. So here we go. You ready?
Let's do it.
Hey, Ivan and Stephanie. First off, huge kudos on Coffee and Corn. You've got me hooked like Xena on a good fight. Your blend of wit and wisdom is pure podcast gold. Quite a compliment.
Wow.
Now, let's chat about this season of Xena Warrior Princess.
Okay.
I'm feeling a bit like Gabrielle stuck in a really bad bard phase. Your recent episodes left me craving more depth and sass, and less surface-level banter. As a diehard fan, it's like watching Joxer try to be a warrior. Painful and a bit cringeworthy. Do you feel like we're cringy?
Shouldn't there always be a level of cringe to a podcast like this when we're talking
like
about
this,
Xena?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, they continue. I know you've got the chops to turn this around.
The chops.
The chops. Let's channel our inner Xena and slice through the fluff to dissect the heart of each episode. Together, we can transform this podcast season from drab to fab, just like Xena's armor after a good polish. Keep slaying, Coffee and Corn crew. Looking forward to seeing your warrior spirit shine in future episodes. Cheers, Mandy.
Wow. Thank you for the feedback, Mandy. I would say that just like Xena, if we were to chop in and dissect each episode, it would be very short-lived.
Yeah, I mean, what do you mean by... What do they mean? Mandy, email us again. What do you mean by less surface-level banter? That's what we do, baby.
That's our brand.
Yeah, and I feel like we bring the sass, too.
Yeah, we hang loose.
Right on, brah.
We can get with the times. We can be cool. And
as for being less cringeworthy, it's not going to happen.
Because we stand on business.
See? There's a great example of it. So anyway, Mandy, thanks for listening. And thanks for emailing us. Always appreciate the feedback. And hopefully, when we get back into Xena with the next episode, it's exactly what you're looking for. Hopefully that you're satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got one more.
Okay.
So, hey, Ivan and Stephanie, listen up. I've had it up to here with your sorry excuse for a podcast, Coffee and Corn.
Oh.
Seriously? What a joke. Your so-called discussions are about as insightful as a rock. Do you even know what you're talking about half the time? Your attempts at humor are pathetic, and your analysis don't make me laugh. It's like you're scraping the bottom of the barrel for content, and let me tell you, it's not a pretty sight. I'm done wasting my precious time listening to your garbage. Do yourselves a favor and pull the plug on this train wreck of a podcast. Save us all from your incompetence. Consider this your final warning. Terry.
Okay. Thank you, Terry. I'm a bit confused by your message. You say that this is a final warning, but then you also in your message say that you're done. So
right.
So which one is it?
Yeah, Terry.
Terry?
Yeah, if that is your real name. Yeah, I mean, what warning? Was that a threat? I'm not afraid of you.
Wait, yeah, what are you going to do?
So, sorry you don't like the podcast, but you don't have to listen to it, bud.
There's plenty of other podcasts out there that, don't scrape the bottom of the barrel.
And you know what? I bet Terry is still listening. I bet he's bluffing. I bet when he sees Brink hit his feed, he's going to be like, I can't resist.
They always pull me back in.
Exactly. So anyway, Terry, thank you for listening. And I know you are. I know you can't. Yep. You can't quit us.
We don't believe you, not one bit.
So if you've had it up to here with our podcast, or maybe you love what we do, or somewhere in the middle, email us at coffeeandcornpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Leave us some suggestions on what you want us to cover next. I know we're getting back into Xena. We've talked about other movies.
We talked about Xenon
Girl, we talked about that. Maybe Are You Afraid of the Dark? I think we mentioned that too on the last episode as well.
Are You Afraid of
the
the
That was suggested to us, so I think that'd be really good. Maybe we could do Goosebumps, Animorphs. We could do a horror movie. We just watched Candyman.
I love Candyman. That was my first time watching it.
Oh, I love it. It's a classic. Scary, huh?
Yeah, frightfully so.
Yeah. Any closing thoughts? Any other thing you want to mention or bring up?
Brink up.
Anything you want to bring up?
Nothing that I want to bring up. But I just love the cool vibes of the movie, bro.
Yeah, it was pretty chill.
Yeah, it just makes me want to shred on the inlines, someday.
All right, well, until next time, keep on shredding. Keep it gnarly, bras. I've been Ivan.
And chill out. I've been Stephanie.
Peace out.
See ya.